Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to today's Monday Mobility. This week is Backcare Awareness Week. So I just thought this week I would do some back exercises to work out your back a little bit. So this is just going to be a standing, a gentle standing workout. I'm going to do a nice gentle warm up and just a very few exercises that will help your back. Now this is if you've got a stiff back or if you've got a bit of general aches and pains in your back. If you've got anything more severe than that, if you've got a diagnosed problem like you've got disc problems or osteoporosis or any of the complicated things that begin with an S, spondylolisthesis, spondylitis, several conditions beginning with an S. If you've got any of those, then you need to, there might be specific things that you can and can't do, and if you want any advice, please send me a message. I can help with things that you should avoid and things that would help. But generally these things are to just help if you've got a little bit of stiffness or you're just a little bit of aches and pains. So there we go. So I'm just going to stand up and we're going to focus on a few things. So of course, back pain is really common, very common. And there's several reasons that you could have back pain or a stiff back. Well, stiff back it would be generally from lack of movement, of course, lack of flexibility. You're not moving enough. Sitting down for a long period of time is the worst possible thing you can do for your back. It puts a lot of stress on your spine when you sit down for a long time. So the best thing you can do is keep moving. Also a very big contribution to a bad back is weak core muscles. So when you haven't got the strength in your core muscles, it just lets go. It doesn't protect your back as it should. So if you can work on your core muscles, which we are always doing in Pilates, then that will help with your back pain. Generally, if you tighten up your tummy, it helps. Posture is another big reason why people have bad backs. So if you had lordosis here, not lordosis, no, what's it called? Kyphosis. If you have a kyphotic posture here, where your shoulders are rolled forward, your head might be sitting forward, you're going to get a lot of stress in your neck and your upper back. The chest will be tight, but you're going to stretch these muscles at the back. So we need to focus on the correct posture with your shoulders. That would help your upper back. Equally with your lower back, if you've got bad posture with your lower back, you could be very lordotic, which is a big arch in your back here. So if your bottom sticks out and you feel like you've got a big arch in your back, you've got lordosis, a big arch in your back there. That's going to cause all sorts of problems with your back. These muscles are going to be very tight. Good afternoon! These muscles in your back, your lower back, can be very tight. The muscles in your core at the front, the muscles in your abdominals is the word I was looking for, in the front, they're going to become stretched and loose, and they will need tightening up. So that's your posture, which will really affect your back problems. And also, if you had a different sort of posture, you could have other issues with what am I trying to say? Certain muscles will be too tight, certain muscles will be too stretched, and that will affect how you feel in your back. So, also, another big cause of back issues is stress. So that can not only cause tension, headaches, but tension in your back as well, and backaches. So, let's see what we can do. So I'm going to just do a very quick focus on posture to try and help. On Wednesday I'll do some exercises on the floor to help, and always with Pilates we're always focusing on strengthening the core muscles. So whatever you do with me is always working on the core muscles. So let's just get on with it. It's going to be quite brief and quite short, quite simple, just a nice warm-up, nice mobility warm-up, and a few basic exercises that you've done before with me, nothing complicated, just to help mobilise your back and help to ease a little bit of the aching if you've got that. Right, so our lovely Pilates posture, you've got your feet hip distance apart and they're facing forward. So your ankles are underneath your knees. Try not to lock your knees. You don't want your knees to be locked tight. Have them a little bit soft. Now the pelvis, I'm going to focus on quite a lot. So your pelvis can tilt forwards and it can tilt backwards, and it will depend on what sort of back you've got and what sort of posture you've got, which movement is easiest for you. So if you tilt forwards, imagine that's point A, and if you tilt all the way back, imagine that's point C. Your pelvis is like a bowl of soup. Tilt it forwards, the soup falls out the front, tilt it back, it tips out of the back. A to C, A to C. What you're looking for is position B. So it's a position in the middle of those two positions. So you're not tilting too far forward with a big arch in your back. You're not tilting too far back with your back too flat. You're coming into the middle position, position B. Now that is your neutral spine position, the best position for your spine to be in all the time really, but particularly when you're exercising, is that nice curved position where it follows the natural curves of your spine. So you've got a curve here, but it doesn't want to be too big. You don't want to be sticking your bottom out. It doesn't want to be too shallow. This is quite tricky. So if you can tilt your pelvis forwards and backwards, and then try to come to rest in the middle position. It's handy if you do this in the mirror, because then you can really see, you can really take note of your posture. So try to come to rest in the middle position. That would be your neutral spine position. If you've got very tight back, this might feel like quite a stretch for you. If you're used to standing like this, with an arch in your back and your bottom sticking up, which is very, very common, then when you lengthen your spine to get that middle position, that's going to feel like quite a stretch. So of course you need to know the difference between what is a stretch, and it might hurt a little bit, but it's just a stretch, and what is pain, because obviously we don't want to cause any pain. Hello, good afternoon. We don't want to cause any pain, and we don't want to make any conditions that you might have worse. So you've got to be able to listen to your body and tell the difference between just a bit of a gentle ache or a dull ache or a stretch and something that's really not good for you because it's painful. So hopefully when you're doing your pelvic tilt, it's not causing any pain, it might be a little bit of a stretch. Come to us in the middle position, so continuing up the body. You're thinking about a string pulling your head up towards the ceiling. So you don't want your head sticking forwards, you don't want that big curve there in your neck. You're thinking about drawing up. Imagine that string pulling you up nice and tall. And then, if your head does stick forward a little bit, try to think about someone coming towards you with their hand and pushing your nose back, so that you're going to make your neck be nice and straight up to the top. Am I explaining myself a lot? So you're not here, you're nice and tall. So your neck's nice and long, it's not sticking forwards. Neck's nice and long and your string's pulling your head up. I'm focusing a little bit more on this today just because it will help your back if you've got a better posture. So strings pulling your head up towards the ceiling. Next thing, of course, is your shoulders need to be rolled back. So you don't want your shoulders forward like this. That's really, really awful for your posture and will give you backache. You're rolling the shoulders back. And you're feeling the shoulder blades sliding down the back of your ribs. You're opening up your chest, squeezing the shoulder blades together. So that's a very, very basic posture which will help you. The next thing is, of course, your core. So with Pilates, we focus an awful lot on strengthening your core muscles, and that will really, really help if you've got a bad back. It will really help. So it can be quite complicated, but it's to really, really simplify it. Your core is your muscles all the way around your middle, your tummy muscles, your back muscles, and also your pelvic floor muscles, so they're going between your legs. So all of those muscles are like a brace, and you want to be tightening them up, so that if somebody came towards you and punched you, you wouldn't just collapse. It would be able to bounce off because you're bracing those muscles. So you're not trying to suck it all in too much. You're just trying to tighten it. You're trying to have a little bit of tension. So you're going to be drawing up your pelvic floor muscles a little bit. When you're practicing, you're imagining that you're stopping yourself having a wee, but you can't pull them all the way up too far, otherwise you won't be able to breathe. So you're going to tighten them up a little bit. You're tightening up those tummy muscles, and what will happen is your back muscles will work as well. So that's your core muscles that you're focusing on, and all the exercises we do, as I said, really, really focus on these, some more than others. So that's your core muscles engaged. Pelvic floor's lifted, tummy's a little bit tight, and of course you're breathing. If you're breathing nice and deeply, that will help with your backache, because if you're not breathing, if you're holding your breath, that's going to cause tension, that's going to cause your muscles to tighten, and that's going to give you aches and pains and stiffness. So always try to breathe nice and deeply. If you are stressed or anxious, try to do some nice deep breathing. Next week I'm probably going to focus on relaxation and breathing a little bit. Let's just breathe in through the nose and blow out through the mouth. Breathing in through the nose and blowing out through the mouth. And while you're doing that, you're trying to keep hold of those core muscles. So you're trying not to let go of the tummy, you're trying not to let the pelvic floor muscles relax down. You're trying to tighten them up, brace them, keep a little bit of tension there all the time, even when you're breathing. So you're breathing in and you're blowing out. Okay, so let us start. I'm just going to start with the head. So I'm just going to gently take the head down. And then if it's comfortable for you, you're just going to look up. You can open the mouth to relax it a little bit more. Now, if anything is uncomfortable, if you've got neck issues and it's uncomfortable to do anything, please make the movement smaller or just miss it out. What I'm trying to do is get the neck warmed up to release the tension in your neck. Because if you've got tension in your neck, that's going to travel down and potentially give you backache as well. So you're just going down and up. And then you're going to look to the side. So again, nice and gently, you can make these movements as small as you need to. Nice and gentle, breathing in at the front, breathing out. So while you're doing these nice gentle neck moves, you can think about tightening up the pelvic floor and tightening up the tummy. We do that one more time. All of these movements that I'm doing, these first ones, you could do sitting down if you're struggling to stand up for a long time. I'll do a seated back workout on Friday, of course. So then you're going to take the ear to your shoulder, up to the middle, and then over to the other side. So you're getting a little bit of a stretch in your neck. Neck stretch is a really, really good idea to do every day. So we're going to make it a little bit bigger. So we're going to take it over to the side, and then you're going to drop your chin down to your chest to make a little semicircle, and then back up. Over to the side, round in a little semicircle, and back up. I'm just going to do that one more time. Ear to the shoulder, nice and gently, if it's not hurting. Up, and one more. Over to the side. Lovely. Okay, so we're going to start with the shoulders now. Good afternoon. So I'm going to do one shoulder at a time. So if you've got any shoulder problems or arm problems and this is uncomfortable to do it with your hand on your shoulder, just do it without. Just do that. I'm just going to focus on one shoulder at a time to start with. So rolling the shoulder back, I'm going to try to keep the rest of my body still actually at the moment without any twisting, so we're just focusing on the shoulder. So just warming up the shoulder muscles. And then if it's comfortable for you, we're going to make it a little bit bigger by taking the whole arm. And again, if you do have a shoulder injury and this is not comfortable for you, just miss it out and just focus on rolling the shoulder without adding the arm in. Lovely, so then we're going to do the other side. So hand on your shoulder if it's comfortable, keep the rest of you still. You haven't forgotten that you're tightening up your tummy, you're bracing those tummy muscles. You haven't forgotten to tighten up your pelvic floor muscles. Okay, and then we're going to add in the arm if that's comfortable. And of course, you are breathing nice and deeply. Lovely. Okay, so I'm going to just roll up both the shoulders now, focusing on the shoulder blades, squeezing together and sliding down the back of your ribs, really opening up your chest. So if you do have backache in the top of your back, it's really, really important that you do your shoulder exercises. That will really help. Opening up the chest. Lovely. So I'm going to take one arm up and the other arm up. So of course, when you're lifting up the arms, there's nothing new here. I've said it all before, but it's worth repeating. When you're lifting your arm up, you're thinking about lengthening your neck and keeping your shoulders down. You don't want the shoulders to hunch up to your ear. And the shoulders relax down and the neck nice and long. Beautiful. So I'm just going to do both of them together. So again, not letting the shoulders hunch up, keeping the shoulders relaxed down and the neck's nice and long. Just not adding in the head at the moment. I'll add in the head in a minute. Just in my arms. Breathing nice and deeply. Okay, let's do circles again. So I'm going to do a circle with one arm and then a circle with the other arm. Okay, so I'm going to do a dumb waiter. So your elbows are tucked into your waist and you're rotating your shoulders around, feeling your shoulder blades squeezing together. So focusing on the upper spine at the moment and the middle as well. So tightening up the tummy and breathing nice and deeply. Elbows are staying tucked into your waist. Shoulders are rotating out, shoulder blades are squeezing together. This is such an easy exercise, there is really no excuse for anybody not to do a little bit of this every day. If you've got this sort of posture, it really will help to open up the chest, work on the shoulders and the back, and alleviate some back issues probably. Okay, we'll make that movement a little bit bigger, so you're going to take the arms up, and then out to the side, back to the middle, and down. Shoulders are relaxed, and out. So as you bring the arms out, feel the shoulder blades squeezing together. Back, down, and then up, and out. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to do a nice gentle rotation, so I'm going to bend my knees, I'm just going to do a very, very gentle twist here. We'll make it bigger later, because that's one of the exercises. So I'm just going to do a nice gentle twist. So you're trying to keep your pelvis facing the front, and you're just mobilising the middle bit of your spine by twisting it. Nice and gently tighten up the tummy. So if you did have osteoporosis or any other diagnosed problems with your back, you need to be very, very careful with twists and bends. You do need to really tighten up your tummy. Make sure that you're breathing and never push it too far. Always make sure that you work to your level that's comfortable for you. Don't overdo it and don't make it too hard. Lovely. So then, I'm just going to do a nice gentle side bend. Again, your knees are a little bit soft. So very, very small bend to the sides. And just mobilising the spine sideways. So a lot of these exercises we always do anyway. It's just a general warm-up, but they're always useful for back problems, as well as focusing on the core. They're useful for all sorts of things, but today I'm just focusing on the spine. Lovely. Okay. So I'm going to do a bit of a swoop. So I'm going to swoop my arms forwards to arch the back, and then backward. Actually, that's arching, isn't it? Forwards to arch it forwards, and then open up the chest. So we're getting a bit more mobility in your spine. So of course you can always make these movements smaller if you need to. Don't forget the core muscles are tightening them up. You're squeezing them in a little bit, not too much, just tightening them up, bracing them a little bit. Around in the back and arching to open the chest. Get a little bit more movement in your spine. If you're sat still a lot, if you're working from home or you're just sitting a lot, it's going to make your muscles tighten up and it's going to make your back very, very stiff. So the more gentle movement you can do, the better. Worst thing you can do is to stay sitting down for too long, particularly if you're sitting in not a very good posture. So as I said before, it causes a lot of stress, but places a lot of stress on your spine when you're sitting down. Okay, so let's do some little pelvic tilts. So we talked about this at the beginning, so we're tilting the pelvis forwards and then tilting it back. So we're getting a stretch down the back here. So again, if your back is arched, when you take it this way, that might be a little bit uncomfortable because your muscles are not used to stretching. These back muscles are going to be very, very tight. So you can do it as small and gently as you need to. It doesn't have to be a big movement. Nice and gentle, just to get some movement in that bit that's stiff. So of course most people who have back pain will probably have it in their lower spine. So these ones are really, really good, really important to do little pelvic tilts. So you can make them bigger if it's okay for you. Knees are a little bit bent. You're breathing nice and deeply, getting that lovely stretch as you lengthen your spine. it sideways as well, just to get the pelvis moving and help to get the lower spine a little bit more mobile. And we'll just do circles because it's like hula hooping, which is quite nice. So you're drawing up the pelvic floor, you're tightening up the tummy, you're breathing nice and deeply. You're going to go back the other way. Lovely. Okay, we're just going to do a few little movements with the legs just to get the pelvis moving. So I'm just going to brush this foot forwards and backwards. You can hold on to something if you need to, hold on to a chair or the wall if you need to. So I'm just brushing forwards and backwards. You're tightening up the tummy. You can make these movements very, very small, particularly this back movement. If taking that leg back is uncomfortable in your lower back, just do the front one. Take it to the middle. When you take it back, think about lengthening your spine. Don't let it squash. Think about that spine being nice and long. When you do the other leg, so you're just swishing it forwards and backwards. You're lifting up the pelvic floor, so fall over. Tightening up the tummy, breathing. Haven't let your shoulders hunch up as you're trying to balance, lengthening your neck. So this is just a nice gentle leg movement. And we're going to do it to side, so out to the side and across the front. So just getting the pelvis moving. To get everything warm. And we'll do the other side. Swish across the front, squeezing in the tummy. Lovely. One more little leg movement we're going to do, just some semicircles round. Again, you can make these smaller. So on Wednesday I'm going to do a lot more work on the pelvis, the pelvic tilt. Do it lying down. You can do it on your bed if you can't get down onto the floor, or got enough space. So I hope you join me on Wednesday. Semicircles. Okay, lovely. So I'm just going to do a few gentle movements just to keep your spine level. Oh, I'm just going to do some roll downs. So you're going to keep your knees a little bit soft. I'm going to do half a roll down to start with. Breathing in, breathing out as you curl down. You can hold on to your thighs if you need to. I'm just going to do a little one. Breathe in there. So you're breathing in, you breathe out, chin tucked into your chest, you're curling your spine down, hold on to your thighs, just getting a little bit of movement in the spine there, keeping the tummy squeezed in. And we'll make those bigger in a minute. We'll do one more of those. Just single times. Never mind. Okay. So let's just do, I'm going to do my swoops again. So swooping, you're warming up, mobilising the top of your spine. So you're swooping forwards and back. You can bring your the back of your hands together and then open up. So any issues with your upper back, pain in your upper back, really stretching it out and working those muscles that need working. Always exercise better if your knees are a little bit soft, not locking the legs. And also not forgetting to breathe, of course. So that's your lovely swoop. Lovely movement. Okay, so we did a nice gentle twist. So we'll make this a little bit bigger. So I'm going to do it with my arms crossed. So bend the knees a little bit. You're trying to keep the pelvis still. In fact, what you could do is do it with your feet, heels together and toes turned out. So just twist into the side. And then when you do it like that, it helps to keep your pelvis still. So lengthening the spine, don't forget your string, pulling your head up towards the ceiling. You can make these as small as you want to. I'm just going to swap the arms over, so the arms on the top. So your shoulders are relaxed, your neck's nice and long, getting a nice gentle twist in your spine. If it's comfortable, by all means make it bigger. Make sure that the tummy is nice and tight. Lovely. And then of course we could make it even bigger by taking the arms out to the side and then a twist here. Squeeze the tummy in. So you're really mobilising the middle of your spine. So this is your spine twist. Spine twist with bigger arms. Lovely. I will do a bit of a side bend, knees apart and feet apart, knees a little bit softer. We did these nice gentle side bends. We'll make them a little bit bigger. So again, your spine's moving in a different plane. We did rotational, and now we're doing side to side. So you can make it a little bit bigger by taking an arm over. You can still keep your hand on your leg. So again, really tightening up the tummy. Anything that's too painful, if it's twinging your back, you're really feeling it pulling, it's not comfortable, then please stop or make the movement smaller. You can try tightening up your tummy a little bit more, and if that works, fantastic. But if it's too much, then just stop. I don't want anything to be painful. So we could make these bigger. If it's comfortable for you, make it bigger by keeping the other arm out. Keep that tummy nice and tight. Stop if it's too much for you. Lovely. Okay, and then my final thing I'm going to do is some more roll downs, and we'll make them a little bit bigger. So your knees are a little bit soft, you're breathing in at the top. Breathe out, you tuck your chin down into your chest. Hands are on the thighs, and we'll give it halfway down to start with. Breathe in there. Breathe out, you curl back up one vertebra at a time. And up to the top. So you're breathing in. As you breathe out, tummy squeezed in, chin sucking in. You're curling your spine down one vertebra at a time. There'll be a flat bit that won't want to go down one vertebra at a time. That's what you're aiming for. So we're going to make them a little bit bigger. So you can curl down a little bit bigger if it's comfortable. Go down to below your knees. You can still hold onto your legs if you need to. Deep breath there. Squeeze the tummy in as you come back up. When you come back up, roll the shoulders. And again, breathe in. As you breathe out, tuck the chin in. Curling the spine down one bit at a time. Just gradually making it a little bit bigger. Nice deep breath. Tighten up the tummy. Feel the spine uncurling. Roll the shoulders. If it's comfortable, you can look up as well. If that's not comfortable for you, you miss that bit out. It's horrible from your neck. A little bit further. Okay. Roll the shoulders. Look up. Let's make it a little bit bigger this time. So we're going a little bit further down. And then when you come up, nice and slowly, I'm going to take one arm up, and you can look up if it's comfortable for a little bit of an extension. If that's awful, please don't do it. So if you've got, I said at the beginning, if you've got disc issues or anything like that, then you need to ask for advice. If you have got any disc problems, you've got bulging disc or anything, slip disc, then this exercise is not a good one for you to do because it pushes the disc out into a position that it doesn't want to be pushed into. You need to focus on doing movements the other way, the extension. So if you do have any disc problems, please don't do this. You can always ask for some advice. Okay, I'm going to go all the way down. Relax the hands down, squeeze the tummy, your spine's nice and curled down. Breathe in as you come back up. Feel the pelvis slide back into place. And we'll take both arms up if that's comfortable. And look up if that's comfortable. I'm going to do one more like that and then we'll finish. Squeeze the tummy, curling down. If you can't do the big one, it doesn't matter, just do whatever you can do, whatever's okay for you, even if it's only small movements. Better to do something small than nothing at all. You're looking lovely. So then roll your shoulders. I'm going to leave it there. Hello. So, thank you so much for joining me. That was just some really, really basic, easy exercises just to try and mobilise your spine if you've got a stiff back and any general aches and pains. So as I said, if you've got anything more specific that needs looking at, then you can always message me and I can give you some advice. Or, of course, if you haven't got a diagnosis and it's chronic pain, then you need to get a diagnosis from your doctor. Good luck with that. Please join me on Wednesday. I'll be on the page on Wednesday. I'm going to do some lying down exercises, really, again, mobilising the spine. And on Friday, I'll do a nice, gentle seated workout for the spine. So thank you very much. It is Back Care Awareness Week, so let's all be aware of our backs. Take care of them this week. Thank you very much. I will see you soon. Bye bye.